بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I'm from London and I've been Muslim 3 years, alhamdulillah. Well, I grew up in a church. My grandma is a devout churchgoer, so for pretty much the majority of my younger years, I went to church every Sunday with my gran, because my mum wasn't particularly religious, neither was my dad. And I really enjoyed going to church. It was fun. All the kids would run around, sing, clap, all that sort of stuff. It was really, really fun. And then, what else can I say about my family? Like, it was mainly Christian upbringing. I played football. I love football. I was a tomboy. I was the youngest girl in my family. I thought everyone wanted me to be a boy. So all my uncles, my dad treated me as this little boy that they never had. So I played football. I was very much a tomboy. Wasn't into dollies much, nothing like that. I was much more into the boy things, fighting, watching football, watching Power Rangers, watching all the things all the boys would watch. And then that was it really, nothing really major. I went to a church thing in primary school and was very much involved in the whole church aspect of it all, you know, taking your, doing your confirmation so you can take Holy Communion. I was in all the school plays, you know, played football and really just enjoyed it. I mean, I had no problems at primary school, literally none whatsoever. It was really, really, really positive. And you know, that's what kind of pushed me towards trying to do well at secondary school. When I left primary school, I went to an all-girls secondary school, which was a great idea at the time, because, you know, keep you away from this distraction of boys, as it were. I did well for the first few years, you know, studied hard, did my homework, up until about 14, and then that's when you start mixing with the wrong crowd, the crowd that goes out looking for boys, and you kind of just got, not like I was going out to be part of that, you just kind of get dragged along with the ride, as it were. And I found, like, obviously guys give you attention, and you start just, you basically go to school to have lunch and have fun. Like, you know, mix with the guys, have a laugh, a joke. Nothing sinister, because we're still quite young. But it was a distraction. So I guess I kind of took my mind off the schoolwork and started bothering about guys. So yeah. When I was at secondary school, I started doing a lot of performing arts. And that's what I went to do. From actually saying that, from I was a child, from primary school age, I went to dance school and drama school, always have done since I was about 3 years old. So even though I was quite a tomboy in the sense that I loved to play football and stuff, my mum was very much like, you're a little girl, do girl things. So I basically, every Saturday, went to my drama school, very well known one at that. And so alongside school, that's what I was doing. And I decided in school that I went to go to college and study that, or go to it, and then after that, hopefully go to a drama school and pursue my career as an actress, stroke dancer basically. Well, when I was at school, like I said, I was very much involved in my acting, dancing, so I was very much looking up towards people like, especially black actresses like Halle Berry, you know, Jada Pinkett Smith, all these kind of people. You know, the typical singers out there, the Beyoncés, you know, Destiny's Child, those kind of people that it's quite sad to say that we all kind of looked up to. Obviously now, you know, different, but you know, they were the people that we really idolised, which is quite sad really when you think about it. But most, like I said, every girl in our school pretty much idolised these people. When I left secondary school, I got a job, like a part-time weekend job, and then I also went to college at the same time, and I went and studied performing arts, but mainly acting, because that's what I really wanted to do, was to act, opposed to dance, sing and all that sort of thing. And I went to college, met some really cool people. And in saying that, I mean, college was a time where things kind of stabilised out a bit. I knew myself. I was confident in myself. Where in secondary school, even though I was doing my performing arts and stuff, I was very confident when it came to that. But in myself, I was quite shy. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't, you know, I wear tracksuits. I wasn't one to wear little jeans and skirts. I was never into it. But when I got to secondary school, I was much more confident in myself, the way I looked, and was quite happy to prance around in skinny jeans and be myself. And then obviously with college comes freedom, you know, because I had a job. My mum didn't worry about me so much. I was allowed to go out, I'd party, you know, all the whole fake IDs, that sort of stuff we all did. And I would say to you, my college years were fun. Like I said, I had a really good time. And then towards the end of college, I got pregnant. And I was about, 17 years old? And so, yeah. Well, after I got pregnant, I was more than disappointed in myself. I was like, how stupid are you? My family my mum was livid. My family were pretty disappointed because they all had high hopes for me. And it did for a bit. I was really like confused about everything, you know. Obviously the friends that I had spent all my time with weren't there anymore. You know, and alhamdulillah, I met new people. I met new people who were supportive, you know, people more older than me, who'd been through the same thing, like same experience as me, and who helped me basically to try and better myself and try and get back to where I was before I had my child. A year after I had my child, I got a new job. You know, I wanted to progress myself properly because, you know, before that I was partying hard. Literally every day I was out, and you know, things had to change. When you have a child, you can't be you can't be partying all the time, you know. It's just not responsible. First of all, it's not responsible. Second of all, you know, your child's here now. You need to look after them and try and raise them up to be something. Do you know what I mean? So that happened. Fixed myself up, got my new job, you know, stabilised myself, sorted myself out, you know, tried to make myself successful. It's really funny because where I work, I started to meet a lot of different people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions. And before, I grew up in a very multicultural area. So I knew pretty much people from every race. And it's funny because I knew a lot of Asian people before, but when I started working at this place, I started to see a lot more Asians, and I started to see, it's something I never noticed before, and I started to see the difference between Hindus, Sikhs and Muslims, because I thought all Asians were the same. How bad is that? And basically, being in that environment, especially around a lot of Muslims, you start to, you know, ask questions. I was really curious, because you'd be sitting there chatting to like a girl, just laughing, joking, and next thing you know, she's like, I've got to go and pray. I'm like, what? So I remember thinking, what is all this all about? These people, especially like these people I work with, every like couple times during our shifts, they'll be going off to pray. So from that, I remember approaching a brother. And it's funny because I always remember his brother being just a cool guy. He never really talked to anyone. Not like anyone, but I noticed he never really talked to the girls much. And I remember saying to him, like, why don't you talk to no one? And I remember him saying to me, you know, it's not my sort of thing, you know. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm a Muslim. I don't like to, you know, mix with, you know, females. And I was thinking, what is this guy on? And I remember saying to him, nah, this is strange. You're a good-looking guy. What is going on? All the girls in this place seem to love you, but you just don't seem to care. And I remember one day, I probably saw him about a week or two later. I think he went on leave or something, and he gave me a book. And I believe, I can't remember the exact title of the book, but it's like a brief illustrated guide or something to Islam. I cannot remember the name of the book, I have to remember it, but it was basically a thin book about like the science behind Islam, the Quran and everything. And I remember reading that thinking, my gosh, this makes sense. And it sounds really cliche, but it really, really, like, I don't know, it touched me in a way. I think just knowing the scientificness of it all really struck a chord with me. So maybe after about a week or so, I bumped into him again. I was like, oh, you need to give me another book. And in the end, he gave me his number and said to me, if you need any more books, just give me a text and I'll bring some in. And every like few days, I was texting him saying, bring me another book, bring me another book. And then one day, I didn't even text him. I remember just being at work, he comes up to me with his blue plastic bag full of books, and it had a massive Quran in it, which I still have to this day. And I remember it, I remember it clearly, just picking it up and reading like the Surah Al-Fatiha and going, subhanAllah, thinking to myself, wow, this is the weirdest thing, I can't even explain it. Like, my heart completely changed. And I remember saying to him, I want to take my shahada. About 2-3 days later. And he was like, what? I was at work, and I was like, no, I want to take my shahada. So he literally grabbed up a few Muslims from work, and there I was in our staff room taking my shahada. It was like the strangest thing ever. And then 3 years later, here I am. Well, after I took my shahada, like, I had this immense feeling of happiness and just felt so just so happy and elated that I'd felt something and it felt right. But then as you start to, obviously, you know, when I was reading about Islam, I learned about, you know, the basics of it all. But then obviously I had to learn about, you know, things like hijab, not free mixing, the things that I basically, obviously I was used to walking around in the summer. I was never one to walk around in, you know, shorts and a vest stop. But things like just wearing a pair of jeans and a t-shirt in the summer, things that were normal to me, and I realised, wow, I've actually got to cover up now. You know, when it's like, I remember my first Ramadan, it was hot. I'm wearing my hijab and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, no one warned me about this. But I think that was originally, for the first year of me being a Muslim, I didn't cover. And for me, it was just about learning about Islam and trying to, you know, get as much knowledge as possible and learn how to pray. The main things at the start I think was important for me to learn. And then I remember one day, I had a friend here with me, and she obviously was wearing her hijab and a jilbab, and she said, why don't you try it? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try it. And it was the first Ramadan, and I put it on. I put on a little pashmina, wrapped it round, and a pair of like loose linen trousers that I could find, and like a cardigan. And I went out on the street for the first time in hijab, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even explain it. I had nerves. It was probably the most scariest thing I'd ever done in my whole life. I can't even explain it to you. And then that moment I went out, I saw every single person I could possibly see. I even bumped into my own grandmother with me wearing hijab. Remember, she's a Christian. And then after that day, I never took the hijab off. It was just like, well, I've seen pretty much everyone I know now, out of chance, as it were. Maybe it was Allah's way of making it easy for me. And that was it for me.